Alright folks, and welcome back to the channel. We're here to discuss Martin O'Neill's final game as he leads, set to lead his Celtic team out at Celtic Park for one last game as we face Dundee at Celtic Park tomorrow evening. I'm joined by Alistair and Liam to go over it. Alistair, this will be Martin O'Neill's final game against Dundee. How you look? What's your thoughts ahead of it?
Well, I feel my age because I was at his first game the first time round, so I feel my age. But ironically, against Dundee United at Tannadice. But no, I'm more, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a nostalgic night, but I hope we can go with a bang. He deserves to, and I'm kind of glad he's got the Celtic Park send off that he deserves.
Aye, Liam, we thought that Sunday would have been his final game, then that wasn't the case. I agree with Alistair. I'm kind of glad it wasn't because I always think especially for his, I'm just going to his second spell here, but he deserves that Celtic Park send off because he's done what he was asked to do and more, in my opinion.
He definitely has. He's exceeded expectations, and that legendary status has actually improved, which is a bit remarkable. I don't know if you remember Josh's first time around, but it was.
Considering I was born in 2004, no, really.
Well, there you go then. So probably just me and Alistair, old fogies that can remember him. But he was my first kind of proper manager. So to get that send off at Parkhead in particular is going to be special. It's a weird one. I'm glad it's over in terms of so the speculation can end, but at the same time, I'm a bit sad that it's the very short journey that he's come back is over. But I'm happy that he's going to get that send off at Parkhead.
I still see. To be honest with you, Martin O'Neill was first because I remember doing that. We done the podcast when Rodgers kind of left the club, and I was fucking fuming that night. But
I didn't know how to feel if you remember this.
Aye, but I said the one thing, and this was my one big concern over it, was the whole legacy thing. I thought, please just do a good job because you're a manager that deserves to come in and do a good job. But he's done a good job, as I said, and done it extraordinarily well. Some of his results, the win against Rangers, that's what I really thought. I thought, right, now he's getting something out the team here. Then I looked at, the result in Feyenoord. He only lost one game, which was obviously that disappointment in Michelin. But overall, it's been a fantastic spell for Martin O'Neill the second time around.
Yeah, I definitely, mate. And I will say this. I'm biased, right? Because Martin O'Neill O'Neill's the reason the dominance started, in my opinion. Because I'm biased, but I think only Martin O'Neill could have done this.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much I rate the guy. Because he's a man manager. He's shut out the noise. He's 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 he- he's not he's not a training ground manager. He learned for the best in blind clubs. So and that is why I was a wee bit more chilled. I went, okay, it's a bit of a pain in the arse that Rodgers is leaving, but if you're going to replace him with the the all round better manager. I believe, and I always have said that on this podcast. I always put O'Neill above Rodgers, even when when Rodgers was here the first time. I always did. So
I think O'Neill came up against a stronger Rangers as well, Alistair, didn't he?
aye,
That's just
that's
facts.
why I would judge it. That in a European final, Liam.
Exactly.
And beat Barcelona 2 legs. The last guy who won a knockout tie.
That's mad.
Jeez, that's a video for another day. My God. But Liam, I mean, he's you mentioned it earlier, he's elevated his kind of status if it needed any more elevation, but he's completely stabilised it. And I also spoke there about the man management side of things. I listened to Arne Engel's press conference before I came on, and he was asked about my manager. He's like, what has he done differently for Arne Engels for me is one of the players that seem to have excelled under him. He is, and Engels says, just basically, he tells us every game we get into, you just compete. It's as simple as that, but that's what it makes us feel. It's just, I think he's just simplified the game.
I watched a wee thing with Kasper Schmeichel being interviewed, and he mentioned that he just cuts out the bullshit. And in modern football, it's a wee bit refreshing for the guys. And I think Luke McCown was also touching on the way his mannerisms and the way he comes across, and he knows when to banter, but he also knows when to tell them off, and that's very important that they know where they are. Do you know what I mean? But he's honestly done a fantastic job, and he also just touched on what Schmeichel said. He mentioned that I think maybe his first game was at Falkirk 4-0 at home.
Aye, it was.
I think, see, after the game when the players kind of do that, that we walk around the pitch and they applaud the fans.
I heard this.
He basically says if he's won anything, if you won a trophy, and they're like, no, Gaffer, it's just, a thing that we do. And he's like, well, more or less, what he's saying is we didn't do that back in the day. He's haven't really won anything. Basically, he's a crap right now, and he's just beat Falkirk. No disrespect to Falkirk, but that's basically what he's getting at. And he's just trying to simplify it and bring them back down to earth and things like that. His man management is second to none, and I tend to agree with Alistair. I don't think Rodgers has got a patch on him, and that's no disrespect to Rodgers. I just think Martinelli is that good that it doesn't matter who you are, if you're Rodgers or even, I don't know, Postecoglou perhaps, I don't know, but Martinelli is second best of all time. I think Jock Stein's the first, Martinelli's second.
Alistair, what difference in terms of players have you seen? What do you think he's brought out? Because I know there's some key differences for me. Arne Engels is a big one for me. But even players like Yang, he's getting a tune out of. He got a tune out of players like Yang, who we thought was useless.
Well, I honestly think, Joy, he just simplifies things. And I don't know if the biggest difference I've noticed, remember how we used to have about 20 corners and we would hit the first man off every one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Our set pieces have drastically improved because if you actually watch them on the night, he'll put one centre half at the back post, one centre half at the front post, and he'll have everybody attacking the ball as it's ready to come in. I honestly don't think we worked in set pieces before Martinelli come in. I genuinely believe that's the biggest improvement that I've noticed. And just the general attitude.
Aye. No, because the set pieces under Rodgers was deplorable, to be honest with you, at times. But, I'm obviously coming. This is the first time I've ever seen Martinelli in a Celtic dugout, right? But, and I, honestly, I don't really listen to press conferences much, right? I don't. It's like they're just filled with your generic shite, basically. But he's one of those managers that I've listened to every single time he spoke because I just think he has a laugh and you don't know what he's going to come up with next. But he is also serious in what he does. But Liam, to kind of maybe end off the kind of Martinelli segment of it, I'm just so glad he's come up here and managed to get a good kind of spell. I know it's short and whatever, but it's no been. I really did fear when he came out. I thought, oh no, I thought he's coming into a kind of basket case, but he's managed to get something into the so-called basket case.
Aye, because I went Pete Tong and he said that. I think that was one of his kind of doubts he was having is that he didn't, the fear of failure. That can actually work in your favour. It can actually help your performance, and it clearly has in his case. And he's obviously got the balls to come back at a 73-year-old man. Doesn't really matter about age, but I think he was on the verge of retirement, or he more or less was retired. They done his wee gig at TalkSport with Simon Jordan, stuff like that. So to come back in, he was quite smart. I think the way he got Maloney Fozzie, and that kind of a few young guys run about him that were also Celtic orientated, and they're good with the modern game basically. So he was quite smart in bringing them in because his niche is that he is a great man manager. So he was very smart in that aspect. And just to touch on legacy again, as I said, he's actually improved his legacy. And I think Chris Sutton was said that he was a bit worried about that, and Martin O'Neill just kind of reassured everybody that nothing to worry about. It was the fear of failure. But he's managed to trump that, and that takes some going. And as Alistair said previously, I think he was the only man for the job. So the board, I know the board. I'm not a board apologist, by the way. I know they are murder right, but you've got to give them credit for that.
Well, if you want me to be honest, Liam, it's one guy that's got Martin O'Neill back. It's Dermot Desmond. That's a Dermot Desmond production. It definitely is.
Aye, phone call in it.
That's no Nicholson. That's no Lowell. Trust me on that. That is Dermot Desmond there at the back.
I did ascertain this week that Michael Nicholson can actually speak to people, because I know somebody that works in the Celtic shop who spoke to him. So he can. By the way, I did ascertain he does know how to speak to people.
The mute can speak.
Aye, that's why when the guy told me, I was like, he can speak. But
he's kind of spoke to you 3 or 4 times.
Aye, through a fence. I was just mostly shouting and bawling back at him.
But no fair abuse.
No, it was constructive, but there was useless basically.
Constructive abuse.
Aye, no, but I mean, it was kind of fitting as well that Martin O'Neill has now won the Manager of the Month award as well, which I thought was quite fitting as well. To be honest with you, with the results, I don't think you can really argue about Liam that he got kind of the Manager of the Month, because Hearts have kind of had a kind of ropey month, and then Rangers are kind of been all over the place as well. So he's a clear winner of the Manager of the Month, and it was just kind of fitting, nice to see him get a bit of recognition.
There was no other contenders, was there? Really? He deserves every bit of it. When you go out,
I must admit, I liked Manager of the Month, but she won't care. That just sums up Martin O'Neill talking about his message when he gets back down to London. Yeah, sums the guy up, to be honest with you. And see all this laughing and joking. Martin O'Neill knows exactly what he's doing with that. He's playing to the gallery.
That's exactly what he's doing, Alistair. He's playing that kind of, no silly old man, but that kind of jokey character, and then behind the scenes, I reckon he's absolutely relentless.
Aye, definitely.
Aye, no, it kind of comes across to me like that. But in terms of the game tomorrow night, obviously, we're a good run. They win against Hibs, they win against Feyenoord, then they win against St Mirren. I mean, I'm not being disrespectful, but come on, like I'm going to be honest with you, there's not really much to preview. It's Dundee. We should be beating Dundee at Celtic Park. If we don't, it's, serious questions, that's all I would say. But no, I think there's a lot of momentum. Liam, in terms of the team, how do you think he might go at? Because personally, I think he'll just kind of stick to what's been kind of gone. But obviously, we get that game on Sunday against Hearts, so I don't know how that might bring it into the equation.
It's difficult for him to have one eye on Sunday because there'll be a new guy in charge. So for me, it's as if he's playing his best team maybe tonight, and unless he's in chats with Nancy, if that makes sense. I really don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but I reckon it'll be more or less the same team from the weekend, bar I don't know if Ralston might come in. I'm not saying that he had a good performance, but I don't know about that right back situation, and he might play Nygren on the right, I think, perhaps, because I think Nygren's looked quite good when he come on, particularly Feyenoord. So I'm not too sure, but I reckon round about the same team, bar probably that right side Nygren and Donovan position. So I'm not too sure, but more or less.
Alistair, what about you?
I think he'll play his best team. and hope he can kill it early doors and get the 3 points in the bag. Give him a nice, honest, nice relaxing night at Celtic Park with a good atmosphere, making chant his name all night. That's what I'm kind of hoping for.
Well, I'll not be there to chant his name, so
No.
that's what somebody gets for fucking planning a night with Scott Brown the day the Celtic game's on.
Same time, so.
So anyway, that's
But
just
I'm pretty sure we'll be okay. I mean, Dundee, I know they beat us, but that's
we fucking better be fuck.
It's a bit of revenge in it, and it's his last game. I mean, the team talk should take care of itself in that aspect. So we're hoping. I reckon it'll be. I'm saying this now, and then I'll eat my words more likely, but I reckon it'll be quite straightforward. I'm hoping anyway.
Well, we'll go into score predictions. Liam, we have got a score predictor league, which is so it's merit.
It's
so
all right. I'm only 4 in front. You're
Is
not
it
Only four.
It's 3?
You're the same as no 4.
Is it 4? Fucking hell.
4, aye.
So we basically get a wee score predictor league if you want to, and then whoever wins it at the end gets 20 quid. So
I
if you
go
want,
for it. Why not?
well, you can go first then.
Aye, go first. Go
Do
first.
I need to say the scorers or just the scorers?
No, just whatever the score is.
Okay, I'm going to go relatively positive. I'm going to go 4-0.
Alistair.
You can go first. I went first the last.
I'll go 3.
That's good because I'm going to go 5.
5, right? So 3,
3, 4, and 5.
right. No, but hopefully it's just, as you said, Liam, a good kind of performance and a kind of comfortable night, because I don't want to. I'm not even saying anything else because it's Dundee. We should be winning. Case closed. I could come back and eat my words, but I won't be because it's Dundee. But before I think we wrap up, we will discuss a bit about the statement that the club released tonight regarding the Green Brigade, because I don't want to completely dismiss it. Basically, Celtic released a statement at 5:20 this evening, saying the club wishes to advise the Celtic supporters that the suspension of the Green Brigade has been extended. This is due to quote-unquote safety incidents involving the Green Brigade, including direct threats against club head of safety and security operations and impacting safety within the rail seating section. This suspension will remain in place until the club is satisfied that the Green Brigade will engage in safe operation of the stadium, which is critical for the continued operation of the rail seating section. Unfortunately, due to safety incidents in development rather than the Green Brigade, including meetings of the Safety Advisory Board of Glasgow City Council most recently on Friday the 28th of November, the club has been left with no option but to close the first 6 rows, basically what's been in place, and just suspend the Green Brigade season tickets and access to Celtic Park and away matches. This closure and suspension will remain in place until the club is satisfied that it can engage with the Green Brigade in the safe operation of the rail seating section in line with the club's risk assessments and operation plans, which the club is reviewing in light of recent conduct. In summary, the club requires to take this action following recent events, basically conduct at the Falkirk game, following an incident in the stadium concourse. Around 100 of members of the Green Brigade, many who took steps to conceal their identity, left the rail seating and intervened in a violent, threatening and intimidating manner. The Green Brigade has not complied with suspension applied following that incident. The group attended the home match against Kilmarnock. A safety advisory meeting was called regarding the group's conduct. The group has not responded to the club's request in advance of the meeting to confirm that the group will comply with suspension and safety management operation at Celtic Park, including regulations and code of conduct applicable to the rail seating. 2 members of the Green Brigade who regularly represent the group at safety/operational meetings with the club staff approached the club's head of safety and security operations prior to the club's AGM and directly threatened him and sought to intimidate him. The safety management of the rail seating section requires the engagement of supporters in this section in the compliance with regulations and code of conduct applicable to the rail seating section. The Green Brigade are being asked only to comply with safety management operation, which is designed for safety of all supporters. Given the conduct to the group within the rail seating, the club is not satisfied. The Green Brigade is engaging with the club's safety management of their attendance at Celtic Park. This is particularly so when threats have been made to club staff responsible for safety management of the stadium. These threats are completely unacceptable. Following the recent Safety Advisory Board meetings, the club requires to report to the Safety Advisory following each match at Celtic Park. Regarding safety management of rail seating section, the Green Brigade attends a match at Celtic Park during the suspension. This will be taken into account by the Safety Advisory Board in connection with the assessment of the safety certificate for Celtic Park and the entire rail section in particular. The club remains open to engaging with the group when appropriate, but cannot accept recent conduct, in particular to club staff. Now, this is what's interesting. To be clear, the suspension is entirely unrelated to any protests or banner and is based on safety issues and violent and threatening and intimidating behaviour outlined above. I'm going to be honest with you, I can't really comment it too much. I don't know the ins and outs of everything. I try no comment on things I don't know a lot about. I've heard stuff about the whole kind of Falkirk incident. It didn't. What I seen it. I don't know what I seen. Didn't seem as bad as maybe people are making it out to be. But it's just another frustration because Liam, when you think we're maybe getting, a bit of positivity, then that statement's brought out, and let's be honest, when the Green Brigade are at Celtic Park, the atmosphere's it's crap. To be honest,
you would know better than me, but I totally you can even see it from the TV if when they're banned that the atmosphere isn't the same. But as you said earlier, it's the board. I think they're egomaniacs. Some of them, do you know what I mean? And taking the limelight away from Martin in it, it's like another statement again. And they could this could have been dead and buried, and they could have just let the Green Brigade back in. And I heard a few conflicting stories about that it wasn't what the papers and that were suggesting it was. So I really don't know what to believe. I'm not even going to start diving into it because I wasn't there, and I don't really know who to believe. But I can smell a rat with the board, put it that way. And they hate the Green Brigade, and they more or less hate the fans. They treat us with contempt at the best of times. But aye, as soon as things get a bit too positive or there's a limelight on someone else, they manage just to whip out a statement and perfect timing, don't they?
Look, I don't know if the Green Brigade, I don't know if as I said, I don't really know the ins and outs. So it's hard for me to kind of probably hard for any to comment because we don't sit in that section. We don't see what goes on. We just obviously just hear the murmurs or you just hear. But it's really just really frustrating because there's big games coming up and I don't really know. I don't really know. To be honest with you, I don't know what goes behind the scenes, so it's hard for me to kind of comment on the statement as a whole. But it's just frustrating again. The fact we've got big games coming up. You think you try to get all the fans in. There might have been stuff that's happened that we don't personally know about, but I just want to get the fans in there and try and get behind the team, especially with the new kind of manager coming up.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'll say this. The last paragraph was very interesting when they said it's got nothing to do with protests or that. Really? Because I'll be honest, it smells, it stinks. I mean, if the Falkirk game, for example, which was the first ban, as far as I'm aware, there's no the charge was downgraded to a section that they said it was, what was it, an assault of some kind. No evidence of that. So they need to, in my mind, get in a room and start afresh if they want to. But I don't think the club want to. That's
Aye.
my view. I don't believe the club want to.
Nah, they don't.
They
No, I've got kind of feelings that I just think that the ultras kind of side of Celtic part. I don't think the board particularly are big fans of them, and I think they will. This is just my opinion, but they will try to push them out as much as they can. But I don't know
It's a
because
standoff. It's an absolute standoff.
it's a standoff. In no way it's going to get fixed if the two sides can kind of meet, but I don't think that will happen because they're obviously sticking to this whole incident that happened at the Falkirk game. I don't really know. I've seen bits and bobs about it. I don't really know what the whole thing about it was, so it's hard for me to comment. What only I will say is I'll always support actual supporters of the club over a board. So that if you're
Because
if you
it could, sorry, Joe. It could, I need to say this. It could easily, what's to stop them doing it to you, me, and Liam? Because if they can treat guys that have done a lot for the club, and the Green Brigade have been about for the last 20 years, next year, I believe, if they're getting treated like that, and you're right, they're no angels, have done some bad things, but come on, we were all daft young laddies at one stage.
Exactly, mate.
Get in a room, be the adult, and see if we kind of work this out because we're all suffering.
Aye, the atmosphere's going to suffer at Celtic Park for the game on the morrow. It might not be as bad tomorrow because it's Martin Lee's final game and all that kind of stuff, but you feel it on Sunday.
But they're
when it's
willing to
been-
chance it, this board. That's the annoying
Nah.
thing. Rather than just sitting down and ironing this out, they would rather chance it. They're so stubborn. It's honestly, I can't be bothered with it. It's just so immature.
Well, the club have basically said that they've tried to, but I don't know what try means. Does that mean they've tried to, or if they...
They basically said, you do as we tell you, or you're not getting in.
So that's why I will say it. If you're asking me which side that I'm on, I've always said this, always. I support supporters of the club over any sort of board or anything, because at the end of the day, they are the lifeblood of the club. Know these people on the board, but I can't really go any further than that because I don't really. I tend not to comment on stuff too much if I don't know the ins and outs of every kind of single situation. But it's just another kind of frustration when we're getting a bit of momentum and obviously getting into a kind of big period in the club. But I'm going to probably wrap it up there for the Dundee preview. Just before I end off, any you get any final thoughts about anything before we wrap up?
No, just thank you, Martin. I think we should say that. Thank you.
I'm a bit gutted. I feel a wee bit emotional. It's like, I don't know. It's so surreal that he come back. Never mind that's him leaving already. But thank you, Martin O'Neill.
No, same here. And obviously, we're back. I think probably Thursday. We'll obviously react to the game. And obviously Martin O'Neill's final game. We can
And
say
we'll
thanks.
probably hear an answer press conference.
Well, hopefully,
We could have.
I'd be a bit worried if we don't have anything because.
I think it's concrete now, but in it because Martin came out was it today. It's absolute concrete, I believe. Or he wouldn't have come out the day.
They could actually announce Wilfred Nancy tomorrow, so you could have Martin O'Neill's last stand, and you could have Wilfred Nancy.
I think he'll be at the stadium.
At half time. Well, I don't even know if he's in the country yet, to be honest. That's another thing the board don't tell us. No clarity and things.
Martin O'Neill's, we're getting all the information from him, and he's not even sure. Fucking joke, man.
Exactly. But well, obviously, we'll see what happens on Thursday, and hopefully, we've got something today with the new manager to speak about. But thanks very much for watching. Thanks to Alistair and Liam for joining us. And as I said, we'll be back on Thursday with post match reaction following the game against Dundee, and hopefully, some chat about the new manager or Wilfred Nancy. But until next time, we'll speak to you later. And hail, hail.
Hail, hail.